Hey guys, this is Parker from Animoplex.com here with the first installment of Better Know a Plugin. Now this series aims to uncover interesting and useful ways to use the default After Effects plugins. Today's plugin is CC Ball Action. Now Ball Action has been around for quite a while. It's really good at simulating LED panels, and the individual spheres can be manipulated through basic controls. So let's jump right in and play around with this. Now this plugin responds to the native After Effects camera. So if you grab your orbit tool and move the camera around, it's going to respond to that. You can do orbit, rotation, pan, zooming. It's going to respond to just about everything as far as transform properties. Now depth of field and motion blur do not work. So if you enable motion blur on one of these layers, it's not going to give you any blurring. It's actually hard to see right now, but you're not going to get any blurring out of this. It's also limited to 16 or 8-bit color. So you can't actually use 32-bit float with this. You're going to have to stick with 8 or 16. So keep that in mind. Now this effect looks really cool when it's applied to footage. Here I've got lava lamp footage from Pixabay. And if I add the CC ball action under the simulation category to the footage, I'm going to set the ball size to 50 so we can see what we're doing a little easier. So it's going to generate this grid of circles. Now the scatter property is going to offset these in random directions. It's kind of cool. The rotation is going to move the entire grid, and you can set the axis here. And then the twist property is actually the most interesting part about this. So if you set this to brightness when you're on a footage layer, and then crank up this twist angle, you'll see it's offsetting the spheres based on the luma property of the original footage. And so you can actually bring it back to compensate, and you have a really cool effect here where it's offsetting it based on the brightness of each pixel. You can also set the grid spacing so you can get larger spheres or a really tight grid. And finally, the instability state is basically another word for evolution over time. And it's only going to work if you have the scatter to a value other than 0. So this is just going to evolve that scatter property. Another cool feature about this plugin is the fact that if you grab the pen tool and select the original footage layer and draw a mask, the plugin is calculating the mask before it generates this grid. So the mask is not affecting and simply cropping the footage. You're actually getting the results after that's already been done. So the calculation is happening after the mask. So I've created this logo animation here with CC ball action and light sweep. Now in order to get this depth of field, I've actually used fast blur with a mask that just animates to make it feel like there's actually depth of field going on there. And this is actually just using the random twist property to get this effect. So feel free to use this for whatever you'd like, and definitely take a moment to experiment with this plugin. It's been around for a while, but it still produces some pretty cool results, and I'm curious to see what you can come up with. Post your project links in the description, and I'd be more than happy to take a look. Thanks for watching Better Know a Plugin.